probably dry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a paper by Chelsea Simmons' lab. If
Okay.
you found that one. I sent it to Kelly. Kelly, I think it's in your inbox somewhere. The indenture. I sent a couple of articles by the Simmons lab about the indenture. I'll talk about best practices and consistency and in reporting data and analyzing samples.
Yeah, I've got the paper. I can send it to her.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really helpful paper for the indenture.
Yeah, does she have like a methods protocol in it? Or like what she did? Or they did?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different things you can do with the hydrogels, whether submerge them in water, indent in water, or dry. And she looks at the differences in steady state moduli according to those and other different methods you can do with indentation.
Okay.
I'll send it. My email crashed, so as soon as I can get it to quit, I'll send it.
So you can see this. Okay. So I have a lot of samples.
What are you testing today?
Today I am testing for the differences in two photoinitiators for GMHA. Are you familiar with GMHA?
No, what is?
It's hyaluronic acid that's methacrylated with glycidyl groups, and basically it involves a photoinitiator, and we have two different ones competing in lab. One that we've always used, and one that's kind of new, but it's less cytotoxic. However,
Okay.
we think it may have like a lower, it may cause the hydrogel to cross-link at a lower, to a lower degree.
Mm-hmm.
So we're assessing if that translates to its mechanical properties.
Nice.
Right. And so I made three. What's up?
Are you doing like Flory-Renner calculations along with it?
I'm not really well versed in Flory-Renner, so no.
Okay. No
it's not
problem.
yet. I'm going to be running the if you have the MATLAB code to analyze the.
I'm sending you
output
guys. I'm
from
sending
the
y'all everything. I'm sending her that too.
Yeah. So you have to run your or you could run your indenture output through a MATLAB code that outputs the steady state modulus,
Okay, no problem.
which is I think that's the most commonly communicated property for indentation. There are other ones that you could look into. I forgot what they're called.
I sent you guys everything that Ben sent me. So he had some MATLAB and some data stuff.
A very important parameter, though, that when you receive your output and you analyze it through the MATLAB code is the NMSE, which is basically the curve of best fit when it's trying to analyze the indentation. So I wonder if I can draw in here. I think I can look up a sample. So the program's here, Bruker on the top right here.
Okay.
It's basically the only program here, so it should be easy to find.
Top right or top left?
Mm-hmm. All right, and this is what you
Top
should
left.
see when you enter the program. All right,
Okay.
I can go through these really quickly.
Yeah.
So the indenture measures the force and the displacement
Mhm.
of the probe that you attach at the tip. If you're familiar, in the indenture, this part right here depresses down into your hydrogel sample and senses the pushback. And you put whatever probe you want, and that depends on what exactly you're trying to assess. So smaller probes are more variable, in my opinion, and we usually use for these 8 millimeter wide hydrogel samples, we usually use like a 3 millimeter ball.
Okay.
I've noticed that whenever I use the smaller ones, like 0.8 millimeters, the variability is just so high, and you can't really. You need a lot of N to
Yeah.
to be able to assess differences. And so that ball is pushed up, and you will see it reflected in the force and displacement curves right here. That's sensing. Right here, it's just noise. That's why it's all random right now. It's sensorial in nature. I can't really talk about the piezo bias. That's not very important. But here, sorry, I mean the piezo bias. And then here is your, I guess you can call this your protocol of what the indenter is going to be programmed to do during each run.
Yeah.
Right. So you have an approach, which is it lowering down towards the hydrogel. The load, where it's actually pressing down into the hydrogel. The hold period, which is how long it is holding at a certain displacement. And so in the Simmons paper, there are differences in how long you should hold each sample, and it gives you different steady state moduli.
Okay.
So you might want to optimize that for your specific hydrogel composition.
Yeah, I'm using granular hydrogels, so it might be a little weird.
It might be very different from what my protocol says to do.
Yeah.
For PHA gels. So the different properties are rate, like the speed of how fast it goes, and the hold time is how long it'll hold, like 30, 60, 120 seconds, or some common ones. And then the unload period is when it comes right back out over the hydrogel. And then the second hold looks like it's just the waiting period after you're done.
Seems like they have a nice diagram.
A diagram?
On your right of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There is also, that reminds me, there's also PowerPoint that contains images like these. Let me write it down so I can remember to look that up.
So Chelsea Simmons' paper is mostly about tissue.
Tissue.
Yeah.
That's not the one I was thinking of, but that one is also helpful.
I mean, she did it in agarose and gelatin as well, but it's mostly.
Oh yeah. That one.
Yeah.
that was the one I was thinking of. PowerPoint. Okay, I'll send you a PowerPoint for this that we made in lab for this. All right, so the other. Wait, why isn't it sharing? So other things in the program that you'll find down here is like how to name your samples.
Okay.
And that's all. That should be straightforward. Just make sure they're descriptive names. So that in case because it might be that you'll end up having 20, 50 files, all run 1, run 2, run 3, because run 2 was wrong, and then run 4, even though your N equals 3.
Yeah, so how many runs do you typically do per sample?
So each hydrogel, it's common to have 3 technical replicates. So in a triangle fashion, inside the hydrogel, on the hydrogel surface, we imprint in different locations.
Okay.
And then for the hydrogels themselves, you might want to run a preliminary setting of power analysis to find what N you need, number of hydrogels.
Yeah.
All right. Did we get the protocol? There it is.
Yes.
All right. So number 1, ensure the controller is turned on. It's normally kept on. I don't know.
The controller on the actual microindenter.
Yeah, let me see if I can float you on my iPad. Sorry, my iPad's supposed to be multitasking, but it's not. All right. I guess in the other camera you can see. So it's back here. This is the controller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the switch should always be in the on position. But if it's not, just make sure it's on because of the problem. Number 2, log into the laptop. Passwords. Oh, the password's there. All right. So if you need to change your probe, you need to make sure you pause the software on the program itself. There's a button that says pause software.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that it's not reading anything or changing values while you're changing the probe.
Yeah.
Might cause some issues. All right, so take out the little ball. Well, that's where it was. So this one's a 33 millimeter that was left outside. Very, very tiny. Let me see in the camera.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
You can touch it anywhere. It's not a big deal if you touch it with your fingers. And usually what I do is I use 2 fingers of different hands, and I just twist it in a counterclockwise fashion.
Okay.
And yeah, it should just stop spinning at some point. There's no correct tightness, because no matter like how far it is from the device, it's still sensing the same difference in displacement and force. So you select your probe in 2B. Yeah, and it's best to select larger probes for softer materials, because when you indent your sample, there is a chance that it can make a hole in your hydrogel or a big crater.
Yeah.
That might affect your other technical replicates, for example. Also, make sure not to press up on sensor when tightening and loosening the probe. Yep, that's why I only use 2 fingers on opposite hands going in a counterclockwise fashion. I didn't try to jab it in there. That'd be bad. 3, calibrate. So now that we attach the probe, we can resume the software on the program. Have to switch between these 2. So yeah. Lower the probe into solution and performing on submerged samples. All right. So what I usually use is a petri dish for submerged samples. In case you eventually want to do submerged samples, I can show you. For this one, I have to do submerged. That's what I decided on. But yeah, and this little crank right here actually raises the device. So the calibration that we do for submerged samples, we do a calibration in the water because that's the buoyant force that it would feel in the software.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's not. It took a lot of pipetting for this. Should have brought a syringe. I think we have even tinier petri dishes. That's why. That's what I did before. Just fill it up. and I'm using PBS. Because that's what they were equilibrated in overnight. Alright, that should be good, I think. Oh shoot. I'll be right back. I have to get a mini spatula for my hydrogels.